Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Broken Berean, and welcome to the new year. And I didn't think it'd be this soon that Tencent would come up again in the news, but here we are. Every year, the US Department of Defense has a list. It's called, is it in here? Section something. Section 1260H list. And that is the list that shows all the companies that work actively with the Chinese military. And this list primarily is for one thing only. That is that the US government will not deal with these companies for anything. They don't want to support companies that are actively helping the Chinese military. Now, is there anything else to it? No. It really is a list. And basically, if we hire a contract, get contractors, the contractors and those subcontractors cannot be on this list for the United States government, period. This kind of does, it just means they can't do business really directly with the U.S. government and any government contractor that the government contracts. So like if they have a contract with Boeing and they need some batteries, they can't contact CATL to get some batteries for their new design of whatever they're working on because they are on the list. So that's just, it prevents them working directly or even semi-directly or just in any way with U.S. government contracts. And that's a national security thing. And I'm actually kind of amazed that Tencent is on this list because they're a technology company and they deny that they work directly with the Chinese military. But as in my videos previously, they own WeApp, which is the social media app for China, the communication, it's like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and everything all rolled into one. Think of it kind of like the app that Elon Musk says he wants to make eventually. The one app that's one for everything. I mean, WeApp you pay with, you do everything with. It's just, so I think that's what's triggered them being on that list since it's so active within it can get under government control. It doesn't have to say on the list, it doesn't have to specify on the list the reasons why they're on that list. But this is a list that's published every year and will be till the year 2030, according to the law that was put forward. And this was put forward by House Representative Mac Thornberry from Texas, who I had the pleasure of meeting years ago when he was still in office. And just because he's from the area where I'm from, and I just happened to be there somewhere, I was like, "Oh, cool! Hey, nice to meet you." That's literally my interaction with him. 3 seconds, just got to say hi, shake his hand, but this was just kind of, hey, as part of our national security, we should keep a list of businesses that may have conflicting issues that work directly with the Chinese government and with us. It doesn't really affect them in a huge sense, but businesses that contract with the government, like bigger companies like Boeing, like Lockheed, like Ford, GM, and other companies like that would possibly provide vehicles or technology for the government, they can't use people on this list either as part of their government contract. Like if Ford wants to make an electric vehicle with CATL batteries and sell it to the consumer, fine. But they can't make those vehicles and then provide them to the government. So that's where this kind of things, that's what this list does. It just prevents conflict of interest. That's the phrase I was looking for. Conflict of interest. And Tencent's on the list. And I'm like, really? And they're like, well, we don't know why. And some, like CATL, which is the battery company that was added this year, like, we don't know why we're on the list either. Well, I mean, yes, there could be political pressure. I'm not going to deny that somebody would be like, oh, we put this political pressure, we want this company on the list. Since it doesn't give a reason on the list, we just have to assume yeah, I don't like to use the word assume, but we have to act in good faith that the Intelligence Committee and the Department of Defense has declared that there might be conflict of interest working with these companies that also work directly with the military of the Chinese government. And that's what it comes down to. It doesn't say what Tencent does, and Tencent says they're not involved with the military. I don't know, but I mean, that's kind of a big deal. You know, it's, hey, you're on this list that the US government can't work with you, and neither can its subcontractors. So, but I was looking and I was trying to find some sort of what they could possibly be doing, and the Wii app was the only thing I could think of, and I couldn't find the fact that they had any government contracts or work with any companies, the major companies I could think of that would have a government contract. I was looking at weapon manufacturers and things like that and just trying to find something, and I just couldn't find anything. But we have to take it on faith that the intelligence community of the United States government has decided that there is some connection that we should not do it. And it is possible, like I mentioned before, that it could be political pressure. And the only thing I could think of is, like, why would Tencent do that? I mean, what would political pressure... I mean, Tencent really is kind of a technology company. They invest heavily in companies like Riot, Epic, Ubisoft, you know. But we'll see how, just made a video the other day. Windows bricked Ubisoft Games and a few others. But I mean, that's going to make people think, oh. And there is one, what was it that came on my list? I saw one from Ubisoft that was on my wish list. I didn't realize it was Ubisoft. Was it City of Light? What was it? I'm going to look that up now. And it's one of those ones, it piqued my interest. Wrong. Child of Light. And it was one of those, I was like, okay. I saw the video for Child of Light. I don't know if anyone's seen this, and it's an Ubisoft game. And I didn't know it was, but I thought it was very, very good. It looked cool. It's a RPG. The art style was kind of like that of Neva, which won one of the Gamer Awards this year. And I mean, I just liked the look of it. And I was like, okay, I mean, it just looked like a fun little RPG. And I'm not going to watch the trailer for it, but does it have there it is. Like, the hair, she has this real long red hair, and the physics behind the hair flow is just gorgeous. I was like, oh, this looks like an awesome game. I was like, I think I'd enjoy this. And it's got your little turn-based fight. And I was like, man, this is right up my alley. Then I was like, it's on sale. I was like, oh, really? And I was like, oh, it's Ubisoft. And then I was like, okay. And I didn't buy it. I mean, it's been on my wish list for a while. Just, I think I was going through like recommendations, but I'm like, knowing that it'll possibly brick the moment I install it, I didn't buy it. So it's one of those games, it looks good even though it's Ubisoft. I kind of want to play it still, but I also kind of don't want to give money to Ubisoft, and I also don't want to buy a game that's going to brick the moment I install it. So I haven't installed that update on my computer, so I'm okay. I could run it, but I'm just kind of like, it just looked like a good game. But anyways, off that tangent, Will this affect Tencent? I don't know, but it makes me want to dump more. Uh, you know, I picked up a lot of free games from Epic over the holidays because they were doing that holiday giveaway, and I was like, oh, I'll pick up some free games. Unfortunately, the one game I wanted for free, I found out about it the day after. Oh, you can get a lot of free games from Epic, and I was like, oh, okay, and it was the Lord of the Rings: Return to Moria. I was like, oh, I could have got it for free. That's been on my list. Play a game running around as dwarves, building stuff and fighting. Yeah, sign me up. I love dwarves. Got a little Gimli figure in my office at home. Up at work. I love Gimli. Love the dwarves. And I'm just like, yeah, but now we got all this, and this doesn't. There's no sanctions. There's no tariffs or anything like that against them. It's just a list. So, what's it going to do? Tencent shares started trading lower. It hurt their, I wouldn't say hurt, but they definitely took a little bit of a hit. 7% lower on Hong Kong on Tuesday, and CATL went down 4%. And honestly, that could be due to the list. That could be to just market. If it was a huge drop, then you could probably say, yeah, them being included on this don't do business with the list affected their sales. But I think a lot of companies, if they really don't do anything with the US government, if Tencent doesn't, then it doesn't affect them. But Chinese companies that work with the Chinese military and do stuff with the US government, they're going to do everything they can to separate themselves because, they'll either have to decide we can do business with the Chinese government or the US government. We can't do both. Once you get on that list, you can't do both. And they have to decide which way they go. And that can be a good thing, a bad thing. That's up to them to decide where they want to do it. And it does kind of become a political thing, but really in the end, they're probably not going to pick the U.S. government over the Chinese government because they're a Chinese-based company. That most of them are Chinese-based companies. There are a few that aren't. I think I didn't look up all of them that were on the list, but yeah. If you're a Chinese-based company, you had to pick between China and the U.S., you pick China because if you pick U.S. over China, Chinese government can implement all sorts of regulations and stuff to basically put you out of business. It's not a free economy in China to the extent that we think it is. They can do things a lot faster to target companies that don't fall in line, is my understanding. Now, I could be wrong on this, but what I've read over my lifetime points to that. Go type some interesting words into Marvel Rivals, like Tiananmen Square. You can't put the words free and Taiwan in there. You can put Taiwan, you can put free, but if you put them in the same info block, boom, inappropriate. Can't type the word. You can't type Winnie the Pooh in Marvel Rivals either. Can't even put Pooh. Pooh. Can't type that Marvel Rivals because they're placating to the demands of the Chinese government. And if you don't know why Winnie the Pooh is bad, go look it up. You're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be fun. Just look. Xi Jinping and Pooh. Just type it. It's hilarious. And it's why you see people that have left China and no longer want anything to do with China, and they're being interviewed on shows and stuff. Just watch. About half the time, they'll have a Winnie the Pooh coffee mug that they drink from, just to kind of stick it to their former leader. It's funny, just because if I was in their situation too, I'd probably do the same thing. Not say anything. Not saying a word. Not saying a word. Just because that would be, to me, I would watch myself do it over and over again because that's funny. And it really is just a funny thing. Just go do the research. It's great. But with Tencent being on this list, it's kind of being like, okay, well, I mean, if these gaming companies want to merge with other companies, like Microsoft isn't going to touch anything that Tencent does now. Their partnership, any partnership with Tencent, oh, that was a eureka moment. What if Microsoft knew who was going on this list yesterday? What if they knew about it before? And that's why they bricked Ubisoft. Oh. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, although I find conspiracy theories absolutely fascinating. Just watching the logic and the guesswork behind conspiracy theories is fun and entertaining to me. But it's also kind of like, when Facebook went down for the first time in years, the night before their former exec had to testify in front of Congress, that was a little sus, right? Now that this Microsoft bricked Ubisoft Games before this came out. Oh. Am I about to start a conspiracy theory? I hope not. But I mean, that's a little sus, right? I mean, Tencent is poised to basically purchase Ubisoft, and they're kind of like, and Windows is kind of like, well, we can't really do business with you. And since they're not a major shareholder in Epic, Epic will probably still work on Windows. Interesting. Oh my gosh. Oh. That is nuts. Oh man, that is an eye opener right there. That is literally a few days apart on these videos. I mean, a lot of interesting talk about Microsoft on that last one. But what if Microsoft knew ahead of time? What if DOD said, hey, Microsoft, we're putting Tencent on the list. Just give you a heads up. Oh, oopsie. But I mean, that came out in like November. I mean, they'd have known like 2 months ahead of time that this was coming. Nah, the DOD wouldn't have done that, right? Right? Oh, I don't know. I don't want to start a conspiracy theory, but man, because Microsoft's got some large contracts with the government. Yeah, they do. Yeah. So does Apple. I mean, they both do. Don't get me wrong, absolutely. They both have huge, massive contracts with the US government. Don't kid yourself. You're like, oh, no, we don't. Yeah, they do. Trust me. Yeah. Wow, that was a eureka moment for me. I wonder. That just kind of hit me just like all of a sudden, just boom. Oh! Oh. I will have to say this. If it is true that Microsoft knew and kind of did this on the sly, they'll never admit to it. Absolutely not. You can't admit to doing something like that. That would hurt Microsoft on a fundamental level. But if something they did just happened to break these games that are owned by this company that's about to be on the DOD list. Oh, oops. We're working on the problem. Oh, well, I guess Ubisoft can't work on PC anymore. Uh-oh. Oh my gosh. I mean, seriously. That wasn't even that hadn't even hit my mind when I started making this video. Oh, wow. Oh, I bet we can't find a trail of anything like that if it exists, but man, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Sometimes things line up that are just coincidence. Don't get me wrong. Absolute coincidence. Does Microsoft put out big patches and break things? Absolutely. Have they done it intentionally? There's never been proof. Could they have done it intentionally to kind of further distance themselves from Tencent and anything owned by Tencent? Yeah, they could have. And could they have disguised that? Absolutely. Hey, delete those emails. Microsoft, delete those emails. Do the Clinton delete. You know, boom. Delete those emails. Oh, I don't like to get political, but that's just funny. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. But something like this is just kind of like, what? Okay. Before I ramble on for another 20 minutes of just craziness and how this could be a real conspiracy theory, let's just chalk it up to as pure coincidence. But let's keep our eye on it just in case it's not coincidence. You know? Just in case. Never know. But if it takes a long time to fix the problem, I'm just gonna assume that's confirmation. If it hits like March and the problem still exists, they'll be like, yeah, they knew. Oh well. It's an awesome Tuesday, guys, and it's going to be a great week this week. I hope it is for me. I hope it is for you. And until next time, my friends, as always, I love you all, and there's nothing you can do about it.